Donal had a massive brain hemorrhage in his sleep, so there was no warning. He wasn't sick or anything at all from it. Needless to say, it was very traumatising, and whereas none of us could understand it, even the adults, again, particularly how hard it was for the children. You know, one day their daddy was there, the next day he wasn't, do you know? So they were extremely traumatised with it. And what I found extremely hard at that time was that there was no help at all available for the children. There was lots of help for me, but there was nothing for the children. I contacted everybody, every organisation, and as all I got back was if they were under 5, there was nothing.
Myself and Joe married in 2002 and had our first child 2003. Our second child 2006, with a wee one in between. And everything was going great for us all, and then Joe suddenly developed slapfoot and was dropping things around the house, and he was told he needed back surgery and everything would be good. He was then diagnosed with motor neuron disease in November 14. And as you can imagine, our world just went into smithereens.
So I just presumed there was nothing. I kept looking for different organisations, but again they kept saying unless they're over 5. And it was only then through my grandfather had died, and he had died in the hospice here, and they had offered counselling for here, and that's when I had found out about the work of Healing Hearts.
So it went very fast after that. Joe actually came to the hospice, came here in April, and then passed away here in June, on the 6th of June 2015. And the process was made a lot easier when we came to the hospice because of all the support that we got.
Healing Hearts is a great name for it because it really was healing. Healing, I suppose, that we didn't even know that we needed really until we went to it, and my girls loved it.
So Joe died on Sunday night, and thankfully Michelle happened to be there on shift, and I spoke to her about telling the boys that Joe had passed away, and we decided that it would be best to wait until the morning so that they could sleep that night. Again, I needed lots of support from Michelle about how to deal with the wake and the funeral, because again, that was very difficult. You know, my experience of wakes had been, you know, mostly as an adult, going in, paying my respects and leaving again. But now this was our house that was going to be taken over, and it was a very busy time. The house just was so busy. And I asked Michelle, what do I do here? You know, do they stay or do they not? And she said, well, take your lead from them. If they want to be there, that's okay, and if they don't.
Now, I know that teachers would have been kind and they would have been supportive, as I say, around those occasions like maybe Father's Day or special, you know, occasions. They would have been aware of that and maybe got them to make a card for somebody else, or, do you know, that kind of way. And definitely the teachers would have asked me how I was doing and, you know, was there anything that they could do.
But I had spoken to the principal and said they're coming in, and she had spoken to the teachers and told everybody that they were coming. And I knew that I could pick up the phone at any time and see how things were going.
I'm very conscious, as I say, from a personal perspective and from a professional perspective, being a teacher. When you go through something yourself, like a bereavement, it gives you a different perspective on it. You know what it's like. You know what it's like for the children. So I suppose things that we would do in our school in St. Joseph's would be that we would make contact with a child that's bereaved, and first and foremost ask them what they want. Do you know, it's some children mightn't want it acknowledged at all. Some people do want it acknowledged, just like each of us grieve in our own different ways.
As a teacher, I think it's important that parents, you know, come in and say, you know, she had a bad night or he didn't sleep very well because he was upset or whatever. so that we know when they come through the door that, you know, maybe they need a wee hug, or maybe they need to be told it's grand if you don't get all your work done today, or if you don't feel right and you know, want a wee bit of time out.
I always would sort of check in as well, regardless with the child. So, you know, maybe just every couple of months, how you doing? How, you know, I'm here. There's a safe space for you here. You know, if they need a wee time out pass, even a cup of tea, bit of chat. We make contact with the parents just to check in with them as well.
My experience now, I see that when children come in after bereavement, and you can see them drifting away and thinking about something else, and you just need to let them go there without prodding them and saying, do you want to talk about it? I think a very big part of it is allowing children to come to us, letting them know that you're there. As a teacher, I think we have to be prepared to open the door and welcome the child and acknowledge their loss straight away. And I have actually seen teachers, seen adults looking at the child and scurrying away. So it's very important to acknowledge the child. That can be done quietly.
But it's just that whole idea of going from what they want, that it's not somebody just enforcing, because everybody deals with their own grief in their own way, and they need time to process that and how they're going to deal with it. As well as that, it's, you know, training for teachers and making them aware that if there is behavioural issues with this child due to the trauma that they've been through, it's just about having procedures in place.
I teach children who are age 6 and 7, and you know, you can sit down in the chair with them standing beside you and give them a wee hug, and you can feel the relief in them that you understand. And it is easy to just walk on by and say, oh, I'm not going to say it today, I might upset the child. And that's okay. If we do upset the child, we can make provision and say, do you want to go out a wee walk, or would you like to draw a picture? That we're letting children see that it's okay to actually cry.
I think as well as a teacher, I think sometimes as well, especially maybe if you haven't been through a bereavement, some people think it's a short period. You know, you're given a window of so long, and then that window shuts and everything's forgiven for that short period of time, and we can overlook, but after that it's well, really, and it's realising that grief doesn't work like that. It's a trauma that never goes, and it can just, different times of your life, it can pop up when you're least expected. And I would always chat to the children about that too. You know, I go, look, it could be the least wee thing, and that's all right. You may think you're doing okay, and you are, and that's great, but maybe something might happen, and you know that we're here.
So it is about making time, and that can be tricky because you have to get through everything that's going into the school day. But that child deserves that wee bit of time, and it can be 2 minutes. It can be a 2-minute conversation that's enough, just to let that child know that you understand.